So uncivilized.
It would help if it would let me take it down. Greetings, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Uncivilized Scoundrels. And we're kind of meeting on a very somber note because the show just had to end. Like this is a level of perfection that is unheard of in this universe, and not unheard of, but to tie this the way it did. I watched the entire season. So what I did was I watched the entire season again, watched Rogue One, and then went strictly into New Hope. If you do it that way, that's an experience because they seamlessly tie it together with the last couple of episodes. And I was like, yo, this is effing phenomenal. This right here is literally one of the best shows I've ever seen on TV. And why I say that for me is because you have me a hello when I'm going back and watching this over and over again, dissecting everything. Even though we have our very own Negro Domus on the show, I still wanted to go back and basically dissect everything myself. And I think that they absolutely murdered. And Gilroy did such an amazing job. Disney, lock him down, give him the bag, as much money as you can, because if you want perfection, if you want somebody who knows exactly what they are doing, just give him the money. Give him all the money because I'm telling you, he's going to kill it nonstop. But I'm so excited about this show. Do me a favor while you're watching, everybody tuning in, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, hit that bell notification so you're always up to date as to what we got going on over here. I'm just going to bring the panel in, man, because definitely we got some things that we're going to actually talk about. Man, how are y'all doing today? It's a sad note, man. Like, we are into this journey of Andor, and we'll have other things to talk about in the future, man. But as far as like this particular show, it's like a beautiful ending, but a very somber ending, of course. But man, CC, thank you for being here. As always. How are you doing? And CC, I want to say, first and foremost, congrats. You did a bang up job. You did an incredible job. I mean, your performance in this show was, I mean, bar none. It was incredible. Like, literally, for your first acting gig, you did such a phenomenal job as Clea. I know a lot of work went into this, but definitely thank you for coming through the clutch. How are you today, though? What's going on?
Am I allowed to repeat the joke about
yes, sure.
Where I make up, don't look and then I'm good. I'm hanging in there. I think I'm in the acceptance stage of grieving.
Yes.
But it's been grieving with the community. It's been like a group project. It's like I can't imagine how they felt filming it. Like incredible the whole time, bittersweet. But I also really respect the decision to end on an incredibly high note and not string it out and cause potential budget issues or anything like that, considering how long the production took. But it's a shame. And it's funny you mentioned like it's a show that you could watch over and over again. I can't if I plan on getting anything done. It's one of the few. I can put Strikes Back on. I could put Mandalorian on. But if I put Andor on, nothing's getting done. I'm not here in my apartment. I'm not doing stuff with my collection. I'm not doing laundry. I'm just going to be watching Andor.
You're right. You are absolutely right. I can't watch it doing work. I can't watch it if I'm doing anything else. I can't even watch it if I'm on a treadmill at the gym because I'm going to stop. Like, literally, it's just the way it is. But I agree, definitely. But thank you for being here, as always. Dressed for the occasion, as always. where the hell did you find that shirt?
Oh, this? You mean my
Yeah.
On program.
Hey, she just got out.
On program. All right.
She just got out. She just got out the clink.
On program.
She just got out.
Program. She just
That's
got
so dark.
One way out. One way out.
Oh man, what a circling back these final episodes have been. And I mean, I think this is just so incredible to be here and talk about a show that I think has reinvigorated Star Wars. And people are saying that they see Rogue One differently. I certainly do. I don't know about everybody else. And they making me want more. I want more. I'm addicted. Yeah. It feels good. It feels good. It's like, even with the prisoner uniform, I'm feeling really good. I'm glad to be here talking some Star Wars, everybody.
Yes, so glad to have you here. Definitely.
Love it.
Negro Damas. Yo, you know what? I'm gonna pull this. I want to pull this up. So somebody asked the same question. Master Darcy said, were you able to find the scene X was talking about where Bix hints at her pregnancy? I didn't.
No,
that's what he said, and I'm like,
actually,
yo,
Charlie the Unicorn got it just right. Yeah.
He did.
Yeah,
he said it was during the talk with the Force healer. Yeah, you said that, and I haven't gotten a chance to go back. I'm gonna go back and watch it, with the healer, just to see that one glimpse, that moment, and how you called that shit. Like, how does it feel to be right?
It feels. I actually had a little bit of help from my friend here.
Yeah.
Human cyborg relations.
Oh no!
Hell yeah!
But no, I feel. I mean, I always like being right, but I'm just sitting back. I'm like, oh, you'll see. And then the fact that that's how they ended it, with this child, with this, essentially hope, which is what children, symbolize, and it's hope. And I was just as excited to see that as I was to see was it B2 Emo, which is my favorite flippin' droid, Cassian. I love that droid.
Bro.
I love that droid to death, and to see that droid living its best life,
he was loving it.
Amazing. So no, this show was everything I ever wanted but didn't know I wanted. Just think about, 1977, nobody knew that they wanted Wookiees, space wizards, and laser swords. But guess what? That's what we got. And at this time in my life, I didn't know I needed, a Star Wars story that featured just the everyman, all the side characters, all the people at the ground level making choices and deciding to act in their own little ways, and all their choices matter. And through those choices, you have the original trilogy, but without those choices, we never would have gotten there. So to see all that done so well, now the bar has been set so high for Star Wars because we know what you can do. We've seen you do it. We've seen you do it twice, season 1 and season 2. We've seen you do it. We know you can do it. So anything less than this is unfair. Is going to be unfairly judged, I'm afraid, because we know that they can do good work because this was great work.
Yeah, that I definitely agree. It's a bittersweet type of situation because anything that comes after this it's a tough act to follow, for real. And it's going to be interesting to see how they do it because it's tough. It's definitely tough, bro. But definitely thank you for being here as always, man. Uncle Keith, man, and there goes the infamous scene. There it is, right there, bro.
There it is. It is. You see her with the baby carrier on.
Yeah.
She turns and you see the baby.
What did Uncle Keith, when you saw that scene, knowing what we talked about last week?
Yeah.
What thoughts ran through your head, bro?
It was like, man, how did Press X, my favorite streamer, guest streamer, how did you even know that?
Yeah,
I need to get an autograph. I need to get he needs one of those booths at the Star Wars conventions and stuff like that, that you take pictures with Press X, because he called it. He called it.
Yeah.
So, like I said, you know what? This show for me, I remember going to when I saw Lord of the Rings, and I remember the second movie where Sam and Frodo were heading to Mount Doom. I was sitting there, and it just showed it, and it then went off, and I'm sitting there and I go, damn, I want to see the rest of this right now. I don't want to see this in 2 years. I want to see it right now. And even though we all know how this is, we knew how this is going to end. I wanted to see some more. I wanted to see more. I wanted to see what happened to Wilmon. I wanted to see what happens to all the people there. Well, we know what's going to happen. The battle's going to happen, but I wanted to see if Wilmon made it, because he was broken up by Luthen. He was all tore up about that. But like I said, this I don't know how this really happened, but this is the best Star Wars show of all time up to this point. If they can do better than this, I don't know how they can. But I love it. I loved it. I actually, because when the show went off, they went straight into the Rogue One splash screen popped up. So what did I do? I hit it and I started watching it, and it was like I was watching Andor in Rogue One. It was, and when you see him at the end when he takes off, you know where he's going.
Yeah,
you know exactly where he's going. And then the ship land, and he gets out, and you go, damn, he just left his show and ended up in this movie. So it was great, man. It was beyond what I thought. And like I said, a couple of people got their one person played themselves, and you know who that was.
Yeah. We're gonna definitely get into that in just a minute, bro. But definitely, man, thank you for being here.
Thank you for being here. Appreciate it. I love being here. Thank you.
Yeah, man, appreciate that. Yeah, Benny. I mean, end of the road, bro. But because I put up just my overall thoughts, and it hasn't changed at all. And anybody who's a naysayer of the show, obviously they were looking for something different. That's fine. And I'm not saying it's a right or wrong way, but this show shows you how a franchise can progress. This show showed you a touch of the past. It shows you how formulaic the present is and how they can basically make it so cohesive, and what the future could be if given that level of space.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, bro, what's your thoughts overall, well, with these last couple episodes where we are right now? What's your thoughts? Where you at right now, bro?
The old proverb, revolution will not be televised, is a lie. It was televised. We watched it. It was phenomenal.
Yeah.
And and this is probably I don't know if this is ruffle feathers, because I know it's a polarizing show now, unfortunately, but it very much felt to me like what was so great about Game of Thrones when it started, in that we've seen many fantasy films and shows over our lifetime, and I think Game of Thrones was the first one to make you sit there and watch politics in a fantasy setting. And you loved it. Like, you could watch Tyrion and Jon Snow just shooting shit for a whole hour, and you didn't feel like you needed to see a sword fight in order for it to be enjoyable. Like, the characters and the writing, everything was so engaging, and I feel like this was politics and writing and just all those like behind the scenes, stepping stones, cogs in the wheel for the world and world building that was in the sci-fi setting, in the Star Wars setting. And I think that we've seen so many ironically critical criticisms of Star Wars when it's too fun, or too much action, or it's too silly, or it's all these things that people wanted to be more mature, and I'm just so impressed that in an era where we seem to be getting a lot of the big IPs subletting genres and giving different things for different people with Disney Plus, that we got something for us too on a much more mature, uh, deconstruction type of level. We see with Marvel and we see with Star Wars, it's like, okay, like here's a Star Wars show for kids. Here's a Star Wars show who likes action. Here's a Star Wars show with, anime stuff. Here's a Star Wars, and they're doing all these different things to satisfy different people. And what I never really figured is that we'd get something like a more mature version with this much support, because it's not just that we got a show like Andor, it's that we got 2 seasons that were 12 episodes that were full length episodes. That wasn't like here's 6 episodes and at half hour a pop. Like they put their weight behind the show when on paper it doesn't make sense. So I think the most surprising thing about this entire experience is it has forced me to eat my hat, and I'm going to say it right now. Not just thank you, Tony Gilroy, but thank you, Kathleen Kennedy.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
She had Tony Gilroy himself said she said yes to every crazy idea that he knew would come down. And I have plenty of problems with her, but fuck if she doesn't have things like this on her resume that makes you kind of say, well, wait a second here. Like, she's not all bad. This was a hell of a feather in her cap, because she had Tony's back, and Tony went about this super unconventionally. This was a super unconventional show. Like X said, like everybody said, this isn't something that we expected or that we thought we would get. This is something that's so outside the realm of typical Star Wars shit that we get. And it was not just good for Star Wars. This was just a great drama, period. It just happens to be a Star Wars. So for all the people involved that made this show possible, defying all the naysayers, all the, like, I mean, especially Star Wars, who has been so afraid to fucking do anything that isn't a guaranteed thing. Like, they haven't taken many risks, and they've been afraid to do films. And when they do shows, it's like, let's just put this little something out. And, and when anything other than animation, they've kind of like been real slow to the draw. But with Andor, they gave us a huge budget and a ton of support for something that was basically a niche type of show, and I love them for it. I'm so happy that we have something to point at when people say, "Man, Star Wars has sucked since the mouse took over."
Andor. Yeah, we can point at that and say, well, it may suck for you, but it doesn't suck for everybody. Like it's we're in a position where we're getting great content, and I think it has to, definitely be received that way. You take the good with the bad, but everybody, if you're willing to basically acknowledge, when something is wrong, show that same grace when something is right and it's done right.
Yep. Be loud when it's
especially if you believe it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Be loud when it's good too.
Be very loud. Be very vocal when it's good, because it's incredible, because every actor in this show put their heart and soul in it, and it showed, because you were invested in every single actor, every single character, bro. Even though Deidre Mero got her just due, I was still invested in it, and part of me still felt sorry for her. You know what I mean? Because
also, I think too, like the argument regarding Disney, which I don't mean to, like, you're beating a dead horse. And also, like, there's no more toxic fans than Star Wars fans. But like, I'm definitely one of those people who, like, I wouldn't be the Star Wars fan I am today if it was not for Disney, like reinvigorating things and going, like, doing new things. And I think too that say what you will about Mando, and it may be kind of trickling off. It has had its bright moments and decent episodes. And look what they can do with something like Mando, with Andor, when you're not dealing with legacy characters. Plus, of course, you count Mon Mothma, who's barely in the original trilogy. And this is where they took that. So I think that, like, Bravo, they made us so invested in a character like Andor that we weren't introduced to until Rogue One.
Yeah.
And gave him such a huge platform. And here we are 10 years later, still talking about it.
Like, still having that conversation about a character who, you know, again, even though you love Rogue One, it was in our minds, what story could you tell about this character that would be interesting? Because all we knew of, again, you look at Rogue One, you look at a character like Jyn Erso, who was, pretty much that lead character. It was the Erso story. You know what I mean? And then it was just the band of brothers type of situation when you had everybody else, just playing their roles. So when you take a character like Andor, who we knew absolutely nothing about, and you get so invested from season 1 to season 2, it's like now all you can think about is Cassian Andor. You know what I mean?
Yeah, but like I was saying before, is that this show finally made everybody the Star Wars fan. I'm going to say most of us. For me, it did. It made you think about the other side and what was going on behind the scenes. We never thought about. All we saw was, oh, look at that Star Destroyer. Oh, look at the Death Star. Look at Darth Vader. Look at this. But we never thought about what was the underlying issue about why all this was going on. And this show has shown you what was going on, how evil, how corrupt, how merciless that the Empire is. And they don't care about anything but their one objective, and that's to rule the galaxy at any cost. Bro. That's what this shows. And that's what I liked about this show. And like I said, you can drop this show in history. You can drop this show right into World War II, and everything, every character, every person you can plug into a character that was in World War II, fighting the resistance, fighting the evil Axis Empire. It's the same thing.
Yeah. And we never saw a lightsaber. Nope. They mentioned Force like twice. Yep. No one was a fucking Jedi. I'm thrilled. Nope. That Luthen was not Force sensitive. We didn't have any Jedi.
Yeah. Didn't hear the word Skywalker once. Not once.
Not once. Did he say something about Darth Vader?
I don't even think I didn't hear anything about Vader.
No, okay.
I heard was Palpatine was mentioned.
I learned something about Vader, though. I learned that Vader wasn't necessarily as evil as we thought in Empire, because apparently it's just Empire protocol to kill or jail anybody who fucks up at all. He just
made the choking trendy.
Yeah, because I mean, if you forget to staple a packet, you're in jail, you're fired, you're hanging. There was no second chances with the Empire. You're gone.
Habeas corpus was definitely not in existence in the Star Wars universe.
What was it that Tarkin said? Failure will find you explaining why to a far less patient audience.
There you go.
Well, it is really interesting too that it is pretty apparent that everybody knows who the Emperor is, but they don't know who all these other Jedi characters are. So we got a chance to see the wider population of elites and just ordinary people and what their perspective was of what was going on in this entire imperial rule. We've been mainly seeing it from, a different perspective. And now this is a fresh perspective. And what is also kind of interesting, I had said this before, it's become what the Clone Wars became, let's say, for Revenge of the Sith. Now, obviously, this is going to be the same for Rogue One. And interestingly enough, as I was watching the series and I'm trying to figure out certain elements of just the amount of balance of how everything is done. The production design was incredible. The acting is incredible. And then I thought to myself, there was so much effort that was put into this. Imagine having to do these episodes. Every single scene is like a fantastic looking shot with very specific angles, very specific intention. This was not easy to do. In addition to the writing that was stellar, now all of a sudden you got to put this into a series that makes sense and looks good, color, everything, sound. you know, how many times have you watched the series and recognized the sound from another part of Star Wars? How many times have we seen ships and troopers and weapons? I mean, I didn't want a weapon. I didn't want those pistols, you know, Cece, I didn't want the pistols that Clay had, but I saw her with it. I'm like, yeah, maybe I ought to pick up some pistols. You know, like it's reinvigorating like my for it. And you guys know I love the prison scenes, but everything came full circle. Like we wanted to see what was going to happen to certain characters, and we got closure on pretty much everything in a way that made sense. And my one of my favorite lines of this show was when K2SO says something like, "It's so much easier when I know what we're doing," and I'm like, regardless of whether he was trying to make a snarky remark, I'm like, he's a character that we're falling in love with all over again. Like, this is remarkable to get you to fall in love with a character once, and now you're falling in love with them again. They did the same thing for Cassian, because I never really understood his character from Rogue One. And yes, I know what you guys are going to say. Rita, he did all this stuff in Rogue One, and but to be honest with you, I feel like I rediscovered him. I feel like I've seen all these different stages of his life in a way that if I read it in a book, it would not have been as passionate. We saw him in love. We saw him in pain, with fear, where he's willing to do anything just to stay alive. So many different emotions. I wasn't expecting to fall in love with the evil characters. I wasn't expecting to have that. I had conflicted feelings. First, I love Luthen, and I was like, I don't know how I feel about him. Then I love him. Man, this has been an emotional ride, and I just loved it all. I don't want it to end. It can't end. Let's keep it alive.
You know what? The one thing that I realized in this show, and it just proved that it's not a myth, that everybody, that everybody outside of Leia, they really do take baths and change clothes. Literally, bro. Everybody was in something different every episode. Mon Mothma, do you know that they are basically, in no lie, Vanity Fair is basically creating an entire catalog of Andor fashion.
Well, hey,
literally, they
deserves it. It deserves it.
They are. And guess who's the marquee character on the front of the book once it released?
Mon
Mothma, bro.
Gotta be.
The fashion of Andor has taken like the world by storm. Here, what I loved about this, and I want to talk about it, because we got a chance that we didn't know too much. You know what I want to see now? Now I want to see Mon Mothma elaborate on the Bothan story. I want to see somebody tell that story, because that would be incredible. But the evolution of Mon Mothma, we are so connected to her more than we have ever been before. And I felt so sorry for her because of everything she's been. She's lost her daughter. Her husband was a cheating, greedy bastard who we got a chance to see at the very beginning.
Oh, yeah, that was a good scene. That was a good scene.
He was a cheating, greedy bastard, bro.
Yeah.
She basically gave up her position for what she believed in. And now she's labeled as a fugitive in the galaxy itself. You know what I mean? So everything that she gave up for a cause, and then in the very end to see that cause coming to fruition, it meant so much to see that character. And she played the fuck out of that character, bro. She did such a phenomenal job, and it was worth actually seeing her evolution the entire time. Even, bro, when we got to and we'll talk about it, episode 12, we see the haircut. We see basically the haircut. Now we're getting introduced into that space. I'm like, this is all I wanted, is a show that connects me to this world, connects me to the character. It lets me see Cassian in such a totally different way. Yavin, we get a chance to see every aspect of Yavin and the different factions that actually everything. You know what? I went back and I was looking at the table, because I was like, somewhere on that table where all the pistols were, General So's pistol was there, because remember, she stole it.
Oh yeah.
It was there. It was there. It was on that damn table. And I'm like, and the little Easter eggs, Gilroy is fucking phenomenal, bro.
Yep.
This man is everything. He is. I'm
starting to think it's bullshit that he's not a Star Wars fan, because he knew so many.
Bro, like
his son apparently. Did you see that? I thought it was adorable. So I don't know how old his son is, But he said, like, I'm not big into Star Wars, but my son is. And my son told me, like, hey, do you understand that there's no, like, origin for, like, rebellions are built on hope? Yeah. Like, that's never existed before. And Tony Gilroy was like, are you kidding? Oh, we're going to add that. And just make some random bellhop be the one to put it in Cassian's mind to repeat it to Jyn.
Just like that. And there we go. You know what I mean? And there we go.
Things like that make it special, very special.
Yeah, bro. Like it's everything that I want. And like you said, Rita, I was like, yo, at first we saw Luthen and we were like, yeah, I'm riding with him. He's a ride or die dude. By season 2, I'm like, yeah, I can't trust this motherfucker for shit.
Nope. Told you, lifestyle Palpatine, bro.
And you saw why you couldn't trust him.
Bro,
Luthen had problems.
That man just wanted to ride home. That's it.
Luthen had issues.
Bro, he had issues to the point where your man was like, yo, I just wanted to go home with my wife. Now look, like literally.
Everything you asked of him, I knew. Look at him now, slump.
The moment he told him, "Oh, I'm sending you to Yavin," the moment
he knew he was going to get.
I'm like, "You're not going to Yavin."
He's not going to.
There's no way Luthen would have said the word Yavin, and the fact is, like, yeah, no, that was very out of character to say.
When old boy said, "I got so and so's what was his her cert card or whatever,"
cert he had.
That's it for him because he can't go back and get captured and tell them what he knows. I knew he was done.
Bro, when Luthen said, "Oh, so we're negotiating now," I was like, "Man, you might as well just book it now."
You better
just jump over that rail right there behind you.
Just get up and leave. Be like, I ain't telling you shit. I'm out. Because the thing is, bro, as soon as Luthen started asking questions, as soon as he said, "Tell me everything, I need to know," I'm like, wait a minute. Why can't I just go with you? I would have been like, yo, let me go with you to Yavin and I'll tell them myself.
Yeah, exactly.
At least I have the reassurance of living. You know what I mean? Because I don't trust you. I can't trust you for shit at all. And now I just seeing the way Luthen was, I see why Mon Mothma and the motherfuckers couldn't trust him on Yavin. Because every other day somebody come up dead, bro.
Yeah.
Like literally, you can't trust. Like he's with Luthen, he's not on a side. He's in the best possible position that keeps himself alive and asserted. He's not on the side. I don't give a fuck when nobody says, yeah, he's trying to ride for the rebellion. It gets built off of that. But he's for self. That's just the way it was the entire time.
I still think he's for the rebellion because I don't think that I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. I don't think the story would have ended the way it did, even though we're going to talk about it. I don't think that she would have made that choice had she not known that that was the choice that Luthen would have made for himself. That he knew he couldn't survive in the hands of the Empire. It was not necessarily like, I got to kill Lonnie before Lonnie kills me. I don't think he thought that Lonnie had it in him to be that ruthless and kill one chance at hope.
But like did she know that Luthen tried to kill himself or Luthen was shot? She didn't know that, I don't think.
Who?
Clea. I don't think she know how he ended up in the hospital. She just knew he was there.
I think because like she was practically raised by him. I think she would understand that put acid on the radio, like he was cleaning house. And unfortunately, that made him incredibly dangerous. Like it's almost like I think of like the whole like, hey, if you're gonna get captured behind enemy lines. And I actually thought this might be a thing, considering like how they take from history. Like, dude, I thought Luthen was gonna like bite a cyanide cap in his tooth.
What I wanted him to do was have a shootout. That's what I wanted. I
knew he was gonna like he was gonna do something to like. I think it was very obvious to me, like I said, that he was gonna do something like I said, the cyanide cap in the mouth, or like whether he.
What I wanted to see was like his ship had all the bells and whistles. I wanted to see the office have all the bells and whistles, and stuff, lasers coming out, and people getting jacked up trying to run into that room to kill him. And
I thought
anyway. That's what I wanted.
Part of guys was definitely going to do the cyanide. I was surprised.
That
was going to be a cyanide.
That was brilliant because I think they knew, like, you don't arrest someone and leave the troopers outside.
No.
Like he knew that he was going to go out that way.
He knew he was
Yeah.
done.
He
And the fact that he
was
was
going
like
to die.
listening.
It was death that was there knocking at the door. He knew he was. So he was like, "I'm going to die by my own hands."
But did you notice when the blaster
too,
shot went off?
I know. I know.
When the blaster shot went off,
like
the
this.
two troopers jumped.
Yeah.
What a dope little subtle detail that he was just like, nah, give him a second. Like it was like honorable. Like let him go out on his own terms instead of us bringing him in. Just
and
like that is why this show's so good.
Listening to Nemec's speech, though, you heard the manifesto, Nemec's manifesto. I like that came back and Nemec is reciting. He's like, it just keeps spreading.
Yeah,
like he can't. He can no longer wrap his head around it. He thought he had control of the situation, and it just all got away from him. He thought he could cement the ISB's place by the Emperor's side. Instead, it fell by the wayside because they messed up one too many times.
Well, he said, like one of his monologues that I loved from the first season was he described ISB as they're like doctors,
like healthcare professionals,
and they're treating a disease.
Yeah.
So then for him to listen to the manifesto and be like, it's spreading. And also the irony, I'm skipping the irony that later they don't have any reinforcements because they put out the bullshit that Clea had an infectious disease. And that's why everyone's trying to find her to arrest her.
Misinformation jacked. Messed them up.
Oh, that's like good. That's really good.
It rhymes. Like it was brilliant.
Yeah. And here's the thing is what I liked about it, and because I want to go off of episode 10, there was an actual Thanos Gamora moment. You know what I mean? Like we got a chance to see that, with Luthen's backstory. Clea has a love-hatred relationship with him because, again, they slaughtered her family, bro.
Yeah.
Like they literally slaughtered her family.
Yep.
And he was part of that, but kept her safe and then raised her. You know what I mean? So her being the person, being that person, to him to die at her hands it's not just it was a revelation in itself, but I think it was more gratifying because he would much rather have gone that way anyway.
Poetic.
You know what I mean? It was definitely poetic for her to be that one. So it was like bittersweet. Yes, she was the one who did it with no reservations at all, but at the same time, it's a love and hate. Like, I hate you, but I still love that you gave me this life. You gave me a life to live. You gave me purpose.
Also,
out there slaughtering everybody. Yeah. Go, Vinny. Go.
I'm sorry, my fault. Go ahead.
Go ahead, man. No, got it.
It's just I just want to say that it was a good thing that he got shot there instead of Tatooine, because those bandits on the street would have had him some robot guts in about 15 minutes.
Bruh.
See, man, that's the first person to actually be hurt from a gunshot wound to the gut in Star Wars in a minute,
and still live. But when he was on the ship and they were out there slaughtering all the people, and he was sitting there, and he pulled out his little flask and he's drinking, and he's like, what the hell are we doing this? Why are we? You can see it in his face. He says, I don't want to be doing this, but I have to. So I got to take this drink to get my strength up to do what we got to do. So he had a conscience. But I think as the rebellion and what he was doing went on and on and on, all of that went out the window, and he did what he had to do, which was blow shit up, kill people indiscriminately. It didn't matter to him anymore. So, he couldn't be trusted anymore. That was for sure.
Well, I think everyone loves and hates Luthen.
What'd you say?
I think everyone loves and hates Luthen. Like even Will is just like, why, even Cassian keeps coming back. It's like,
of course,
back for this man who, someone is, I can't remember which character said it. I think it was Val who said, we're no longer Luthen's puppets. It's like, you love and hate this man because you saw what he did. You see what he has sacrificed, but you have also sacrificed. Mm-hmm. And that thing that Andor says, where it's like, I want to be able to make my own decisions. And Clea's like, isn't that what we're fighting for?
Yeah.
So complex. And the fact that he died in a quiet way, the fact that the finale between him and Dedra was this quiet moment where they finally just get to talk to each other face to face, but it's not this big shootout. Instead, it's this very quiet like moment between two people, and then him dying between him and Clea, just two people, and it's very quiet, you know.
Right.
Yeah.
Like people may never know what he did.
No.
This is true. This is true.
No.
And how overzealous Deidre bro, like
man, she played.
It goes all the way back to the first season because she got to where she's at because she overstepped her bounds and took extra initiative, but then that wound up being the death of her,
her downfall.
Because that was her downfall because she continued that way of thinking of gaining too much, like doing too much. She was extra doing too much.
But because she did too much, that's the only reason that the rebellion knew about the Death Star was because she did too much. She put the pieces together. Lonnie hacked her system. Lonnie told Luthen. Luthen told Clea. Clea told Andor. Andor told the people on Yavin. And then they got in their X-Wings and blew. Well, then Rogue One, and then they got in their X-Wings and blew shit up. But without Dedra just digging around, they probably never would have put it together in time.
And what was so crazy about it, she didn't have the whole story. She just had bits and pieces that were put together to figure out what was going on. She didn't have the whole story. She didn't even know what was actually going on. She just had, this piece of information, that piece of information. But she played herself, and Krennic, he played her.
Bro, that finger in the middle of the head, bro, had me dying, bro.
I think that interrogation might be my favorite scene of the whole fucking season. It was hilarious. Like, that is a hell of an actor. Like, I wish Marvel had done more with him when they had him under contract because that motherfucker is.
Ben Mendelsohn is incredible, bro.
Krennic is the man.
Yeah. He's and a lot of people are like, yo, he's like one of their favorite villains of all time in Star Wars, and I can see why. You know what I mean? Like,
he's capable and he's dangerous.
Yeah.
And to hear the fact they have been working on the Death Star for 10 years. Did you remember when they said that? We've been working on this for 10. Krennic's been working on this for 10 years. Yep. So, I mean, that had to be a long, drawn-out process. And what I would like to see was the development of the Star Wars with Galen Erso, that process of how this all became, from kyber crystals and all this stuff, how that became to a Death Star. Why couldn't it have been something else? I would have liked to see the backstory of the development of the Death Star, but
Yeah. I mean, we got a chance to see the pieces fit. We from season 1, the prison pipeline situation, where you're basically showing these characters building these pieces. That's pretty much all they were there for. That was the occupation of building those pieces. By the end of the actual season, you're seeing the plate of the Death Star, coming to fruition. All these plans, the Gorman massacre, the resources that they need there. What we know about, why, Saul Guerrero is where he's at this moment. You know what I mean? Why the Imperials have actually taken up residence, there as well. It's mining for resources. The shit's it's all fitting, but it's showing the occupation of these motherfuckers, bro. Like, I never thought that a show would get you so invested in, like you said in the very beginning, no lightsabers, no dark side, no mention of the Sith, none of that. You got a chance to very sparingly, you knew about the Empire. His name was mentioned, pretty much at the end of the season. But again, we were focused on the runnings of the Empire itself. You know what I mean? From Imperial officers, from motherfuckers who were just basically working behind a desk. All these things. You have one individual who's working under an occupation who just, being used, but thinking that he's living his life because he's looking for something to latch on. He meets his own end just to find out the person. It was funny. I was watching, I think I was watching Gilroy and Diego Luna. They were talking the other day. Gilroy fought. He said he fought hard to have him say, "Who are you?" He fought hard for just that word, for just that phrase, because he took it and they didn't want him to say anything, but he fought hard just to actually have it in that scene. And it just, you know what I mean? And how it basically made him feel like, yo, you're saying, who am I? Or who, you know what I mean? And all this time you made my life a living hell. You know what I mean? So it's just the pieces, everything that we actually got from, you know, from season 1 to season 2, Uncle Keith, was the establishment of the Death Star. It's just that we didn't get a chance to see it. We're seeing all the inner workings and what it takes from occupation, you know, robbing from Peter to feed Paul type of situation, bro. Like that's just the way they are, and they don't give two fucks. No. You now see how evil Krennic really is, bro.
Yeah, he's something else, man.
How evil this man really, really is, bro. Like straight up, like because he didn't look like a punk ass in this last season, bro.
No,
he was mean as shit.
No, he was definitely in command. No doubt about that.
Like he was a boss the entire time, bro. So
yeah.
Again, it's just you're so invested. I never thought that I would just be so invested in occupation and dictatorship the way this season just brought that shit all to fruition. And how much now seeing this, I hate Tarkin. I hate him. I really do hate Tarkin, bro.
Cold-blooded, man.
Cold fucking blooded, bro. Like this, literally, man. Just it.
Leia, we will deal with your rebel friends soon enough.
Soon enough, man. Like I can't. Now, here's the thing.
You may fire when ready.
Y'all brought this up earlier. How does Disney, something that was completely great, how do other shows compare to this? How will they compare to this? How will anything from the franchise compare to this moving forward? I mean, yes, granted, everything has its placement. Everything has within the genre. Okay, you have your action, you have your melodramatic, you have your, you know, but this right here, it covered such a wide spectrum. How do you expand and how you keep that level of consistency? Because it's going to be hard. It's going to be hard.
Are there other stories to be told?
I mean, well, that's the thing. Are there stories worth telling?
Yes.
Are there stories worth telling, or are we going to get shows that feel small and that are just peppered with member berries? They're going to go in one ear and out the other. And before you have time to even think about it, well, here's another one. Yeah. And here you go. It feels small. It feels cheap. You know, maybe this felt big. It felt cinematic. The writing was there. The episodes were at least 45 minutes plus. None of those 25-minute long, episodes. So this felt like, to quote, what was it, Ryan Coogler? This felt like a full meal, where all the other Star Wars shows thus far have felt like appetizers.
And each episode felt episodic, bro.
Yes. This was satisfying. This was satisfying. The structure was satisfying. It built towards something. There was payoff, character development. Yeah. The world building was beautiful. The sets, they had sets.
Yep.
On location shooting.
On location.
Yeah, that one place where they were coming out of the Imperial Senate, that's a real place in Budapest. That's a real building. Yeah.
Bro, I'm just happy that people actually wash their ass. Listen, and they get dressed. Because the thing is, bro, Han Solo wore that vest and jacket for like almost 4 years.
Yeah, like I said,
bro.
Would I love to see Darth Maul and the Crimson Dawn? Yes, of course I would love to see that story of how he controlled a crime empire and what that entailed and what that led to, and was he involved with the empire selling stuff or selling stuff to both sides, or that's what I would love to see that story. But
Crimson Dawn, Black
Star. Can you break that off from Solo? Can you?
But the only way that they can tell that damn story, bro, is they got to get out of these little 20-minute to half-hour episodes, bro. That's not going to work. It's not going to work anymore.
TikTok.
Mm-hmm. They're going to have to get beyond that because it's not going to work. What this show did with 3 episodes every week, it was mind-blowing because we got many movies every damn week.
That's what we got.
And I loved every bit of it. I know a lot of people were saying, well, they wanted one episode a week. No, I didn't. I was so glad the way they did that because it just gave it, like you said, it was a full meal. It was perfect.
Yeah, it was.
It had me anticipating the following week every week, bro. But it's the art of telling stories. And when we talk about Kathleen Kennedy, I heard this today and I was like, I kind of agree. What Gilroy, what he did for her is he actually allowed her to be a producer again. Because Gilroy was the one that said, I want everybody that I work with on Chernobyl, I believe. I want, I want this art director, I want this coordinator, I want this writer, stuff like that. And she's like, all right, cool, have what you want. Because he had an idea. She didn't have to walk with him. She didn't have to hold his hand. He had the ideas. He knew what he definitely wanted. He already had the degree right there. He had everything. The resume was there. She's seen what he did with Rogue One, how he basically helped save that movie. So I'm going to give this man what he wants. He allowed her to be a producer again. And that's how successful it was because they were able to work together.
Because this wasn't done with film, was it? This was done with video cameras, right? I don't think this was done on film.
I'm not sure.
Shot digitally? I think it was.
Shot, yeah. It looked.
But they had a great cinematography. The cinematography was great. Like, the shot composition is great. Yeah. They know how to frame a shot.
Yes,
bro.
The I forget what they call it. The
volume.
And yes, they didn't use that at all.
No.
I know they didn't. No, they didn't use it. That's why I was asking: was this done with film or was it done with video?
No, because Gilroy basically himself said that he felt as though it was restraining. It held him back from telling the story that he wanted, and he just didn't like the look of it. He's saying he said he's not saying it's not important. It just wasn't important for his story.
Okay, good. Made a great choice.
So on location meant more, and on location made us feel like it meant something.
It did.
Like it was there. Like it's a world that you would want to shit. I want to go to each and every one of these locations just to be there and say, yo, this shit was shot here.
It feels real. It feels tangible. It feels like you could reach out and touch it. And that's something the other Star Wars shows were lacking because it did feel small because they were in the volume. You could only walk so far and you'd run into something, so yeah, you could control it in the volume, but there is something to be said about actual location shooting. It just feels cinematic. It feels big, and that's Star Wars.
Bro,
There's nothing small about Star Wars.
No, and he allowed us to see. This wasn't just confined to like Vinny's room. This was outside, bro. This was everything we can basically see outside, bro. That's what we were allowed to see. He actually opened the doors and said, "Come on in. I want y'all to see the world through my eyes, bro."
Nobody wants to see Vinny's Thundercat blankets. I don't want to see.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? But no, that's
like loose location.
But no, I just think that, like, again, like the art of storytelling with this. It's like you said, it's so tangible and the realism is there. It's like you feel like you live in this world and everything is believable. Like everything feels believable. The connective tissue to each individual character. It just feels like you're like, it felt like I was in a relationship with each and every one of these characters, bro. Because again, I wanted to know more and they were allowing me to see more. We
got to see a Star Wars grocery store.
Yeah, bro.
We've never seen a grocery store in Star Wars. Yeah. Like, I need to see a Star Wars grocery store, and here it is.
Bro, we got a chance to see believable intimacy in these shows.
That too.
You know what I mean? Believable, bro.
I mean,
love and all that. You got a chance to see that, bro.
You saw the caste system because it's a caste system in Star Wars universe. You saw where the rich people live, and then you saw where the poor people live. It was, the underworld, all that business.
Classism. So, you got a chance to basically see that, bro.
Definitely prevalent in Star Wars. There's no doubt.
You really did. Because if you think about it, what was beautiful about the Gorman massacre, bro, and I'm not saying the massacre was beautiful, but what was beautiful about that was the simple fact that it didn't matter if you were from upper, middle, or lower class. Everybody got it.
Everybody got it.
Yep. Everybody got it. They didn't give a shit about who was rich, poor, whatever. Everybody got it. They were mining for resources.
You were there. You were in
the way. You got.
Yep.
You know what I mean? And that's just basically what it is. That's one thing about Gorman. The reason why that planet would never be high on my list to visit. Fuck them spiders, bro. Here
we go with the spiders
I'm not doing that, bro. Fuck that. Hell no. I had enough of that, bro. I'm never going. I would never go. You didn't get a chance to see him crawling. You just saw motherfuckers dead, but you can. That's enough. Yeah. You had to get him from somewhere.
You didn't want a little pet spider on you.
No, I'm good. I'm smooth. That would never happen, bro. That would definitely never happen. It ain't coming my way. But definitely, I love, bro. We got a chance to see an actual facility, an actual medical facility. We got to see, bro.
That was the greatest, man. I loved it. I loved it.
An actual just run-of-the-mill hospital, not a military hospital, just an actual city hospital in Star Wars.
I will say,
the one creature walked through and his tail sticking out the back of the gown. I was like, oh my god, look at this! This is hilarious.
For all the praise we're giving to like the world building, I have heard some people, and this is where I have to be like, just stop. Is there's some people who are like, it's Star Wars. Like they've cured all disease. There shouldn't be hospitals. And I'm like, go away. Just keep just
what?
Like
who said that?
They haven't actually cured all disease, and Darth Vader is Darth Vader in like a walking iron lung. If they had been able to cure people in that way,
from that fact alone.
Sci-fi, it's fantasy for a reason. Like we shouldn't. And I'm like, no, like we have to. Like I've talked to people who are like, I don't want to see people's apartments and like how they live. Like that's supposed to be fantasy. Like we're supposed to just imagine. And I'm like, don't know, dude. Like I want to see like how are we supposed to appreciate these characters if we don't see every aspect of their life? Like it took Mandalorian for us to see a toilet in Star Wars.
Exactly.
No point with this because I don't know about you, but my mom is 88, and this is me. Like I'm pushing her around the hospital, going.
Yeah.
Afraid and to whatever, and she's like,
your mom's like, man,
and I'm like, Mom, she's like, yeah, can I have a juice box? Yes, here you go, Mom, here's your little snacks. Yep. I mean, this is real. This is really happening. This is maybe the most accurate thing, other than the Coruscant parties, but this is the most accurate aspect of my life right there. Yeah. And I was like, this is so adorable. She's so adorable.
I mean, for them to show an elderly alien, whatever it was, in a hospital being taken care of, that was significant to me. That was like, this is what goes on in Star Wars universe. It's not all this magic and flying around and shit like that. This is real lives being shown to parallel our lives. That's what this is. That's what
I think the most interesting aspect of the hospital scene is like, think about the knowledge that the staff has to have to know the anatomy of how many different species. Like there's, I mean, you have to know how to treat all these different alien species when so many people have trouble just figuring out how humans anatomy and biology works. So to have a facility where you have to be able to administer, healthcare to the countless species of aliens is baffling.
And you wonder what co-pays are and stuff. I was like, man.
And bro, and here's what people basically.
But CC, they could have had a back to tank in every room, and maybe that.
But they couldn't though. But they could. Here's the problem with it, and people and what motherfuckers don't understand about BAFTA tanks, bro. BAFTA tanks themselves were only actually provided to the Empire. They were stolen in other regions. They were literally, that's just the way it was. The rebels got their hands on one and a lot of those medical resources through Mothma and her resources and her connections at that particular point. Boba Fett, the BAFTA tank that you basically saw there, you know what I mean, on Tatooine, that shit was stolen.
A lot of patients don't want to be thrown into like
exactly.
So that's why they opt not to use BAFTA tanks, because they don't want flashbacks of their lives on Tatooine.
No, that's what I'm saying. They don't. They don't. They want the flash, but that's what I'm saying. Like this shows it, and again, classism is always basically shown. A lot of these medical facilities weren't provided with the resources or given the resources to treat their patients. You know what I mean? You see the Empire come in and say the entire floor, get rid of everybody.
Lockdown. See you later.
Lockdown.
Do you want us to move them,
even if they were terminal?
Do you want to move them?
Exactly. You know what I mean? So again, those
you do a better job of it than I will.
bro. It just
exactly.
It you know what? I don't even want to because I don't even want to mention him. You already know who he is, and he gets on my nerves so fucking bad because he feels as though he knows everything about Star Wars, the lore, and shit like that. But you just prove to me how fucking stupid you are when you're very dismissive about things like this, practical things within the universe that make sense and they expand the universe. When you say shit, stupid fucking shit, bro, it pisses me off. Why can't there be occupied? Why can't we have medical facilities? What would make you think all disease was fucking cured? Exactly. Where do you get that shit from?
That doesn't make any sense.
It makes absolutely no sense. Who told you that? Like, who told you that was true? Where did you get that in the lore? Because I haven't read that shit.
She tells the guy, she says, we have to go up to this floor. They said they're not admitting anybody to floor 19. And she's like, well, her daughter's up there.
Yeah. He was like, love.
And they're like, no, she can't go up. And she goes, all right, we're gonna let them know, okay? And she's like,
yeah,
going along with the whole thing. I love it. I love it.
No, the Star Wars galaxy was not a utopian under the Empire. It was not a utopian place where everyone got everything they needed.
And if you're watching this show or the movies, where did you get that idea that Star Wars universe was a utopian place to live?
Cassian's Marva dies. She dies. She gets sick and she dies. She gets sick.
You're getting planets blown up by death stars. Yeah. Come on, man.
Bro, we bouncing everywhere, but I'm sorry, this scene was funny. It was like K2 was like, get your bitch ass on there.
Oh man.
He smacked the shit.
Got jacked up.
Bro, when he was using as a human shield, that face.
Oh my god, that was
terrible.
That was good. That was really good.
Yo, that shit was so effing funny. It was so funny. But again, we got a chance to see K2. I was so happy to see this. And somebody was like, earlier was like, yo, why do they even wear the armor when you can penetrate it? Like it's whatever.
Useless.
It's useless. But I think it's mainly only combative. It's only for combat. It's never to be used in melee. You know what I mean? Like, or it can be used in melee, but not for blaster pistols and stuff like that.
Yeah. Well, why does it have to work? I'm sorry, the Empire doesn't give a shit.
Well,
right?
I mean, you got a point. In terms of stormtroopers, the stormtroopers are based on the clone troopers, and that people held the clone troopers in very high regard after the Clone Wars, But then, they replaced the clone troopers with stormtroopers. But then they're like, the clone troopers had really good armor. The stormtroopers cheap armor. Just like TIE fighters. TIE fighters have no shields because guess what? We have a ton of TIE fighters. We have a ton of troops, and they're disposable. We can always get more. And that was, we have a great many of them. Man. But it would have helped if their armor had actually been able to stop blaster bolts.
Kidnapping kids all over the galaxy, making them stormtroopers. Yeah.
As if it's one thing we learned, if a stormtrooper focuses, then you get off a really decent shot.
That's the thing. Stormtroopers actually are the elite, shock troopers of the Empire, and they can actually. We saw in Gorman, they can hit their targets. They can hit their targets quite well,
Emperor when you're standing 10 feet from somebody, you better hit them.
No, they can actually hit their targets.
I saw a meme that was when I'm not going to pronounce his name right for some reason. Pancras or whatever.
Yeah.
Portuguese, whatever. When he was in the room and killed himself. That's actually why the stormtroopers were confused. They were really surprised he hit his target.
It was.
That's why they're like, what?
That's funny though. The way they just jump. Oh, whoa, what's going on?
They're not used to.
It was crazy because when he did this, it was sort of like he was saying, "Nope, it wasn't you."
Yeah. You didn't.
It wasn't an accidental discharge, guys. It wasn't like last week.
It definitely wasn't you. So you'll be all right. Wow. You'll definitely be all right. But I mean, really, man,
came in and saved the day, though. He came in and
okay too. Yeah.
Well, and I read that they had contemplated, but it was cut for budgetary reasons, doing a whole episode, like the introduction to K2SO was actually going to be like very horror inspired, almost like, at least what I picture is that one episode in Mando where it was like the prison escape.
Yeah.
Where that felt very like thriller, horror, like alien-esque almost. And I definitely got those vibes with this scene. And I think also it makes sense that we saw what we did on Gorman. Like K2SO, like he better start lifting a finger more. Because Jesus, like if we saw what they're capable of. So I wasn't surprised. But like Rita said earlier, I love the line. I think it was before they left for this. I can't remember that he was like, "There's a rumor we have a flight plan." Like how many? I love that. Like like so disorganized or whatever that he's. Yeah, the sarcasm was great. Great comic relief. Perfect.
I mean, I'm sorry. This scene. I just.
Again, this is horrific. The KX Enforcer droids are absolutely horrific. Which I could see why you didn't. The Empire didn't use them in public very often because after the Clone Wars, people didn't have a very high opinion of droids.
Yeah.
So that's why they're like, we're not going to use them all the time out in public. And Gorman, sure, because no one's going to see this. So let's use them on Gorman. Let's use them to sack Mandalore. Because again, no one's going to see this. But this is terrifying stuff.
It is terrifying. And we don't want to strike. I mean, especially if we're trying to gain the sentiment of, pretty much the Republic. We can't strike this much fear. You know what I mean? Like we have to kind of just hone it down as much as we can.
Like CC was saying, they were talking about doing like a horror type scene. I mean, just look at that picture right there. I mean,
Darren was like, "See, told you."
Yeah, I mean, look at that, man. You see something coming like that, a body hanging there with that head behind it coming down the dark hallway.
Can I say I just love the fact that, at least this is my headcanon, right? Like I don't know if it's confirmed. But I kind of love the idea that K2SO knows because we saw it. Like blaster fire bounces off of him.
Yeah.
He's not doing this because it's practical. It's like just rubbing salt in the wound, where it's like, hey, like you're gonna like it's like diabolical that like you're gonna hit your buddy, even though I wasn't holding the buddy as a human shield. I'd be fine anyway.
Let's see. Okay.
Don't get him started. Don't get him started, please.
Think about a droid that plays mind games.
Don't do it. Cece, just retract all what you just said, Cece. Please just say it.
I love it. I love it.
Because here he goes.
Because I can't. I mean, make it make sense to me. Make it. He can take that much fucking blaster fire, bro, on this show, right? But in Rogue One, he was getting picked off, bro. Like how? Like this, make that point of it making, and those pistols that they were using in Rogue One weren't much different.
Well, let's see. Who is he getting picked off? Was it just regular stormtroopers?
Yeah.
Okay. So I don't know.
So listen, this is my theory. Everybody had to die on Scarab, so he had to go to, and that's the way he went out. That's it for it. Just leave it alone.
Maybe they had more powerful blasters. Maybe blaster technology had come a long way. Maybe because they hit him in the back, and just
let it go.
The thing that gets me in Phantom Menace when Qui-Gon and Obi-Wan do
there
that
you go,
dash,
no.
and they never do it again.
You already know. You already know, bro. You already know.
We want to go down this road. Reva got it too, and she came back.
I apologize.
Hey, Rita, I'm gonna need you to do this.
Yes.
I need you to do this.
Nice.
It's very, very demure.
I'm gonna need you to do this at least once. You're gonna have to come up with this somehow.
I will. I'm going to do all of those outfits. I'm working on this. I already have ordered material. I'm using stuff I have in my closet. You saw I have a lot of gold gowns and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I promise you guys, I'm going to glam it up. Coruscant is real, everybody. Okay. And that is where I live. When you don't see me on the air, I am in Coruscant. I am there. I'm currently auditioning for Good Morning Coruscant. They got rid of those, Coffee and Toffee. They're gone. You want to glam it up. They want to add a little bit more class, a little bit more style. I am there. And guys, I promise you, when I do get on the air, I'm going to keep you guys up to date with everything that's going on. Now that we're going into another era, guys, I'm going to let you know what the new most amazing ball coming up for the season is. Coruscant nightlife has not ended. Things will still go on. And I'm the person to know what's happening. I promise you all, I'm going to dazzle you with these clothes. And it's taken me some time to get everything together because it's a lot of gowns, but I assure you. And you know what? The next Star Wars celebration, I'm going to be wearing some of this stuff.
Okay. All right.
Hey.
I like that. That looks really nice. That's a nice.
Hey,
nice
I got one request at the next celebration, because it is cosplaying and stuff like that. Come on, Cece, just one time, please. Just one time. Can you just do it one time and then dip? Look, you can do it one time and then dip and change. Because you're gonna dip anyway.
Change back real quick.
You gonna dip? Just do it one time and just dip.
Yeah, as long as you also do the hospital one too.
Yeah, just one time and then dip and change.
Just for me, I want to see you in the hospital one.
Come on, Cece. Just one time and do it and then dip and then change like it never happened.
Yeah,
you can dip set.
I don't have the hair for it.
Well, I mean,
we'll get you a wig.
I'll get some wigs. I promise. I'll get some.
One time and then dip. That's it. Just dip out.
When I go to conventions, I just cosplay as a broke ass nerd. That's the cosplay I'm most familiar with. So.
Yo, honestly though, when we were watching this show, it was a feast for Toya. She was looking at all the bro. She was like, "Yo, I would put this with that. I would do it." It was just that's what attracted her a lot to this show was the fashion aspect of it. Getting to know who was behind it. And I know majority of the budget went to it because motherfuckers was dressed to the night. Even the assassins. This is a place where X needs to be 24/7. This is definitely where you need to be, bro. You are not in the right place, X. You need to be here, bro. This is where you are. You need to be on Coruscant because you can smooth with the people. You can get all the information that's needed and just bring it back to the rebellion, bro. That's where you need to be, bro. That's
I'll take my cues from Luthen. It's like, oh, hey, how's it going?
Hey,
really? Where are they going?
Ghetto Yoda says, you know, it's going to be a Nemo's party at Celebration. There's no doubt about that,
bro.
That's definitely going to happen.
Do you think
it's going to be a rave?
Do you think that Disney should expand?
Yeah, I think they should.
Tigrona Tima.
We need a Luthen shop at Disney.
That would be so dope.
That would be great. That would be cool.
That would be so dope.
And I need to get those pistols that Clea had because she was like adding parts to it, and I'm like I want to get one of those things. There's so many more things I want now because I enjoyed this so much. This was so enjoyable.
Can I go on a soapbox right now? So I don't know what Disney's problem is with marketing for Andor. So I obviously have drank the Kool-Aid. I love art. I collect the posters, screen prints. Yeah. Rogue One kind of got shafted in that regard. Even when it came out, there weren't a lot of licensed screen prints for Rogue One. Considering how amazing it is. Mind you, it's not Empire Strikes Back, New Hope that's been around for 40, 50 years, but still, it's been 10 years. Figure shit out, almost 10. But I think it's maybe because it's such deeper material than they're used to. They don't know how to sell it. Even there's K2SO action figures. We have Andor action figures, but there's not much else. There's no lightsaber to sell a Galaxy's Edge. There's not a lot of there's some helmets I saw. I'm desperately in need of replicas. I was looking at there's someone who's going to be doing a run of a different brooch that Mon Mothma wears during the last speech that she made in the Senate. I'm definitely getting that. There's small things because the world building was so excellent. There's a lot of things that people have identified that they've used that were like actual vintage glassware, silverware, just random tea kettles, and like tackle boxes that were in the background of things just to make it look more authentic. That brooch, I want that brooch.
That's the brooch. That's the brooch that Toya broke down to me, and I was like, "Wow."
I mean,
yeah.
Okay, go CC, go.
I'm sorry, I'll keep that in mind in case she wants one of those brooches. But like, they need to figure that out because there's a market for it, and I think there's just tons of it. Just keeps it. The show's been around since 2022 was the first season, right? Like, there's no excuse for it. Like, there's just not a lot of licensed stuff out there, which is just very.
Do you think they might expand on that now, considering the simple fact that the success of the show, that they might open that door? Or you think they're going to still hold back?
I hope so. I hope they realize it'd be like printing money. And I've talked to, without naming names in case it ends up being a thing, I've talked to artists about like, hey, can you please get your shit together and do something for Andor? Because like, I know people want it. It's just convincing the powers that be, Disney, that it's something that people would want. I just know it felt very like a slap in the face when Andor first came out, and all I found in the parks in Orlando or whatever was Kenobi stuff, and Kenobi hadn't come out yet.
Wow.
There's like t-shirts and random things that like looked vaguely Kenobi, but there was like absolutely nothing for Andor. We didn't get like even a freaking t-shirt, like a licensed t-shirt, until the first season had already come out, and I think even that was like few and far between. So like obviously I collect like the prop replicas and the movie posters, so clearly I'm looking for things like that. And I hope that the community catches up.
It would be great to have Lucent Shop, and you can go in there and buy Princess Amidala's crown. You can go buy anything that he had in the shop. It would be in the shop at Disneyland, Disney World or whatever. I don't know. You're right. I don't understand why you wouldn't jump on something like this. I'm pretty sure everybody on this panel right now would love to have something from that shop.
And I know like a high-end shop too, like a slightly high-end shop. Where it's like we can go down that road too. Kind of a fancy place,
Yes.
It's kind of a fancy place where they treat you right,
Yeah.
And even so, like one of the few things, because like I said, I went down the rabbit hole. I think like in my grieving stage, I'm just like, okay, I'm in that like I'm gonna spend money phase because it'll make me happy. To like repress the emotions from mourning the loss of the show. But one of the things I looked at was actually I think it was one of the first episodes or this last episode, when Bix is sitting at the table with the other like farming community on the planet I forget the name of, but the one with B2. And this kid is playing with a puppet, and the puppet it's a wooden puppet, and it's an ATST.
An AT-8,
yeah.
Like the timeline, I think that would have been the first sort of time we'd seen an ATST before Endor. But even that, I was like, dude, sell that in the parks. Like it's one of my favorite things I own. I own the replica of the Stormtrooper doll that they did after Rogue One.
Yeah, I remember that.
It's $40. It looks amazing. It looks like the thing that the Death Trooper was holding in the field. And I'm obsessed with it. Like, just do something like that. Like, recreate that little puppet. Kids would buy that, and we would buy that. Just like, don't leave us hanging. Like, grab an opportunity. And when do we ever have to tell Disney to like make more stuff for us to buy?
But then I go into Walgreens and there's a humidifier looking like R2D2. I mean, come on. I've seen it. I've said, why is this R2D2 humidifier sitting here? This is crazy. This shouldn't even exist. I don't. When stuff like that is marketed and made, I don't like stuff like that. It bothers me. It's like it's disrespectful for me. It's disrespectful to do that to the Star Wars universe that I love. But I know it's about money and marketing, but I don't like stuff like that. I hate stuff like that.
You don't like the Darth Vader toaster?
No,
have you seen the shower head?
Yo, I have. I have a Darth Vader toaster though, bro. It's right upstairs, bro, and it because it says Star Wars on the other side. When you toast it, it has.
It bothers me.
I got it, bro. I'm not gonna. I even got Star Wars.
You like Anakin on Mustafar when your toast is done.
Oh, see.
I hate you.
It hurts me.
So I want to ask you a question. I want to ask this question though, because like honestly, where do we go from here? And do you think it should go anywhere, or should they leave it at
By the way,
this
that's
moment?
a big ass baby.
Hey,
He like
it's
18 months. 18 months old.
it's
I
been
thought it was supposed to be younger.
it's been a year though, right?
Been at
It's-
least a year.
Oh yeah, there was a year ahead. Okay, I thought
Yeah,
it was like 8 months.
No, it's been like a year
8 months
ahead,
old.
bro.
I was like, yo, because you know how sometimes in movies they can't have a baby, they have to have a actor who's at least a year. Or something.
That's my favorite. Like he just gave birth, and I'm like, you're holding a 5-month-old.
Yeah, like that's the thing in Hollywood.
Hey, Bix would still be in the village hospital after having something like that.
You know, so they did expand it by a year, so they did make sure.
Right.
You know what I mean? But my question is, do we need to go anywhere from here? Do we need to go anywhere from here, or should we just keep it
Right now, no.
here?
I would say
Yeah,
You know
just
what,
leave it
you know what I
alone.
said? They asked him if it was a
Still
boy or girl, and he said it's Disney's baby now. It's up to them.
I think people are still discovering a lot of this story that they didn't know they were going to be getting. You know, I personally knew about the characters, but I didn't know we were going to get an epic story like this. So it's still very fresh, very new, and this is gonna. I have a feeling this is going to be. I think.
Yes, Charlie.
Right. I have a feeling that over the
Leave
next
it alone.
years, we're going to keep discovering more and more things in the story that that we're going to be talking about and is going to spur interest. So this is just a very special time. We need to enjoy this because this could be what we get for right now. We don't know what's going to happen in the future. I mean, I love The Mandalorian, but the Mandalorian is not as good of a show as this, like not by a long shot.
No,
we don't need Cassian's son growing up. We don't know if that's a girl or a boy though.
I vote on leaving it. And I do vote on leaving it because this, like X, I think you basically said this was their hope. This was the hope.
Mm-hmm.
This her in living in having this child and having a life with this child was the hope. And part of me, even after seeing it, thinking, I thought that Cassian knew. He knew. I think he knew, and that's why he said she wouldn't be safe with me. You know what I mean? I think he knew.
Well, after she told him what she told him, maybe he figured it out, but I don't think he knew before that.
No, but I'm just saying it. Yeah. I think he knew. He knows now, though. I think he knows now.
Yeah.
You can put it together, and there's certain aspects of it you can get a hint, but I think
I like to think he doesn't know.
You would like to think he doesn't know?
Yeah.
It was just the way he looked at Vale when Vale would say when she said what she said. It was sort of like, I know you know something. I know you know more than what you're telling me, but and in the end of things, she wouldn't be safe with me under the circumstances. You know what I mean? It was a sacrifice that was worth it once he kind of understood. You know what I mean? So, but I do err on the side of just leaving it here. I don't need to know. We don't need to know anything else about.
It's damn near perfect.
Yes.
Don't mess with it. And if you want to do comic books and you want to do novels, knock yourself out. Comic books and novels. If you want to expand on any other area of this comic book, if you want to show what Saw Gerrera was out there huffing with Will and Saw Gerrera, you want to show what they got into, perhaps. Man. Maybe how Saw got messed up. Who knows? Because that's something we're guessing it's Rhydonium. That maybe it was a Rhydonium explosion that messed him up.
That's right. We didn't get a chance to see that though, and I wanted to see it, but they just left it up to the imagination.
Listen, it's the closest thing we could get to what messed him up was Rhydonium, and now as the audience, I'm like, that's clearly, if I had to guess, I would say it's Rhydonium. Because
I thought the story was when he was a kid, he was brought up in a place where they were mining Rhydonium. And he was breathing in the fumes, and that's how he got hooked on the Rhydonium to keep himself alive. Because if he doesn't breathe it, he'll die.
But it's more of the jump between like him talking to Wilmon and then like having an actual breathing apparatus like on Jeddah. And also, I'm sorry if you already discussed this. I don't step away for a second, but how hilarious when they're like, "We suspect you're on Jeddah," and he's like, "Lies."
Yeah. All lies.
If only if you fought as well as you lie.
That line was dope. That line was dope.
Just to chime in on this scene, I hope they leave it alone. Mind you, I'm an addict, so I hope we get like a novelization or a comic book that fills in some of the gaps.
Or an audio drama or something like that.
Yeah, like, I don't want to know what happens to this baby. I swear to God, the fucking people who keep talking about it being Poe Dameron, like in the universe related, this is the same crap like Finn, where it's like Finn is Lando's kid, and I'm like, yeah, like there's only 5 fucking black people in the galaxy.
Leave that alone.
I just hate that. I hate that. Anyway,
leave that alone. It is not, and you know why people basically said that shit though? Because of the simple fact that again, Oscar Isaac was interviewing the cast. He had an interview with Benjamin Bratt. I forget her name.
The one who plays Bix.
Who plays Bix. He had an interview with these individuals. So of course, at that particular time, the assumption was, well, maybe we can put that. No, the story's already been told. We already know who his parents are.
They connected things in the story so well without it being fan service. And that's what I appreciate. And I feel like the whole, like, do you want to see this baby again? Do you want to find out what happens with this baby? Do you want to find out what happens with Bix? Is kind of like how polarizing Last Jedi was with a lot of the decisions that were made. And it kind of reminds me of like Leia getting shot off of the bridge of the ship. And I was one of those people who was like, I kind of wish that's how she died. Knowing that Carrie Fisher was not going to be coming back. Like, I feel like they should have ended it on that note. And I feel like this is it. We're supposed to feel that sigh of relief that she made it out.
No, she made it out. Just leave it there.
We're the only survivors of Aldhani. We know what happens with Cassian. We know what happens in Rogue One, and how it's all of our heroes are gone. Like, she has to be the one who got out, given she was tortured and what happened to her.
This is her peace. She's found her peace.
She's finally found some
so
peace.
Let her live.
And she has a piece of Cassian to hold on to.
Yep.
Exactly. Let her live in her peace.
This is the only closure where, like, we need closure after a story like Rogue One, where we, like, it was just devastating. And I also like, because I don't know if we've mentioned it as well, is the whole series started with Cassian looking for his sister, and we never find out about the sister. And
got all about that.
That was the one.
We never found out. I mean, he dreamed about her. He had a dream about her, but that was it.
And the heroes don't get to have and walk away.
The whole point of everything he's doing is to fill the hole of not having a sister. So if they resolve that, it totally sends the story in another direction. I love that they didn't put a little stupid, like, bow on that and give you something that was unrealistic that he'd ever really actually find her. People lose people and have to deal their whole life with that trauma, and that's part of what makes him who he is. He feels like he doesn't really have anything to lose, anything to live for. Doesn't have Bix, doesn't have a sister. Is the perfect person to radicalize into helping the rebellion the way Luthen radicalized.
Somebody brought this up. I saw it earlier, and they were like, that particular scene when he saw his sister, that was almost symbolic to the simple fact that eventually he will see her again, but not the way we believe. It was in his dream. He saw his sister. She might have already basically met her and that was just her way of saying eventually, pretty soon, we will reconnect, but not the way you think. Like, that was in death that he saw his future. That right there was just letting you know that there was going to be a reconnection, but not in the way that he thought. You know what I mean? So
it kind of reminded me of Watchmen, like the end of Watchmen, where he says, you think I'd tell you like my master stroke with there's any possibility of you changing the outcome? Like, I did the thing 30 minutes ago. Like, it's not like you can't why did we have all these amazing conversations about sacrifice if there wasn't going to be sacrifice, if this kid wasn't going to live without a father, if like Cassian was never going to see his sister again? That's the kind of like sacrifice that Luthen was talking about this entire time. And like, it wouldn't have made sense to like shoe her like put her in somewhere, or like have her be some character. Like some people were like, it's Clea or it's whatever. Like, no. Like, I think that was like incredibly fitting to the whole like, theme of the series.
Yeah, we got Bert $4.99 super chat. Thank you very much. He said, "What is the deal with the very honorable parent and his daughter's passed out mother-in-law? That scene was wild. And we deserve to know more." Yo, that was a crazy ass scene. That was a crazy ass scene because she was all up in Mon Mothma's face at the fucking the party and shit, acting like she was so concerned. Meanwhile, she back behind the scenes and Cheeks is getting clapped. That's deep, bro. That is deep. Oh,
it was that Hennessy she was drinking.
I hate everyone in Mon Mothma's family. I hate her whole family. Her family is full of terrible people. Her daughter's terrible. Her husband's terrible. They're terrible people.
Cece pulled a Vinny. She said something real quick. She's like, "Parent fucks."
Oh, Perrin's out there living it up.
Yeah, bro.
Sagruna,
bro.
Sagruna Tima.
But you know what? What we noticed is Perrin is definitely an opportunist. He was an opportunist with Mon Mothma. Now he's an opportunist with her, bro. Anywhere basically where he can get the upper hand or he has something or stakes in, bro, that's where he is, bastard.
Totally random, but I'm gonna forget to mention this, and I feel like it's a good time, even though God, I'm like, I feel like we're an hour and a half in, and I'm like, we're already at this scene, like, geez. But I thought it was freaking hilarious. Today someone posted, can we just talk about how like every character that was in Andor sacrificed so much and did so much for the rebellion, and these fucking chumps get a medal, and it was Luke and the medal, and I was like, yes, preach.
That's the truth, though.
That's the truth of the matter. It is. Damn.
They take the medals and they take all the glory for what these motherfuckers fought for, bro, and lost.
Take Chewie's medal back.
Chewie, the only one that get no props though. We all know that.
I mean, he got a medal.
He didn't get nothing.
Eventually, he got a medal.
Princess had to die, and he got one.
They gave him a Jelly of the Month club, like
exactly. Yeah, a bottle of Perk shampoo. That's what Chewie got.
Bro, like
biscuit.
This show. It again, bro. Like it's sad that it ended the way it is, and we don't. I want it, even if he can't expand on this story, I want something else like this. I need something else like this because it was just so good. And now, unfortunately, I'm going to look at everything else through like.
Well, how can you not? How can you?
Book of Boba Fett could have been like this. Book of Boba Fett could have been like. Remember, you saw Penguin, right? That show.
Yeah.
Book of Boba Fett could have been like that.
Yep.
Yeah, it could have.
So we got colorful fucking Despas.
Those low speed chases. Love those low speed Star Wars chases. Oh, God.
And tank flashbacks.
And blaster spins. That's what we got, bro. Like that's what we got from that show. What was promised was not delivered. And that's the thing.
Of knowing that this show was too expensive, it took too long to make, that they went from 5 seasons to 2. And you mentioned Game of Thrones. I compared this to like Band of Brothers, Boardwalk Empire, Black Sails, like some of my favorite TV shows of all time. Whether you're a Star Wars fan or not, I was talking to someone today who's like, my friend's freaking out about this. And I'm like, you know, I drank the Kool-Aid. You know, I'm obsessed with Star Wars. I'm telling you right now, you haven't even seen all the movies. You need to watch this. You're going to appreciate it. If you don't like it, they don't mention the Force very much. You don't see a lightsaber. I don't think you see a stormtrooper until the 3rd freaking episode. Like, you're going to enjoy it. Just watch it. It's great television. It's great writing. But, like, you mentioned Game of Thrones. There's a time, Game of Thrones, Walking Dead, Lost. Like, they start taking a dive. And no one has the wherewithal to be like, maybe we should quit while we're ahead.
Okay, now I see where you're going. I get it. Now I understand it.
Can we say lost? Can we say lost?
I get it.
Lost.
I get it.
Lost. That's what happens.
When you get too much of a good thing, sometimes it dwindles off. I get it.
So as said, is like
Better Call Saul, Breaking Bad. They had finite.
Yeah.
I think like this might be the bargaining stage of grieving, but I think it was the right call to say, hey, if we're going to do 2 seasons, we're going to do it right. And we know from the get-go that we only have these 12 episodes to wrap this up. And I think they were brilliant to do it.
Do you think, though, this will force Disney to sort of look at this success, look at how well it was done and received, to say, okay, we're not asking for something. We're not, we want to leave this, but we are going to basically expect more from everything else that we do.
Hope so. I also hope that we're not the only people who recognize the show. Like IMDb, it's like one of the only shows that for the last, I think 5 episodes has more than a 9.5 rating. So like clearly something's done right. The fans love it. But just like the first season, it had I feel like it's a Star Wars thing, kind of like it's a Marvel thing. These shows don't get nominated for awards. I do hope I've seen talks about or articles about how the streaming revenue from the show has gone up. And I hope, like I said, it's one thing for us to, and that's why I don't understand the lack of merchandising. Does it mean, do they think that because it's a serious subject matter or it's a serious show that we're not willing to spend money on things for this show? And that's there's revenue from box office, but then there's the toys, license, and what brings in the most money. I am very encouraged by the discussions of bringing Rogue One into theaters next year.
Yes.
Yeah.
Who tends to do posters on anniversaries?
They'll do it. It's going to happen. That's going to happen. That'll happen.
And put more episodes. Put some of these episodes into theaters. Make it like a marathon situation. Like what they did when they brought Phantom Menace in. And Revenge of the Sith made more money in the week that it was in theaters, at least in Denver, that it was in theaters, than most movies did on their opening weekend that weekend.
Yeah, it did.
Yeah.
It made almost $1 billion.
Yeah, no, it was 45, wasn't it? 45 million, 46?
I thought it was 900 million.
It made 900. It rounded out at 900.
75 million the first
weekend. The first weekend, yeah.
And I agree. I would have totally gone to see Rogue One this weekend. In fact, there are theaters that are showing Rogue One this weekend. So that is happening. But I would have paid money to watch all of these episodes from Andor in the theater. And I think that's something that they could have considered. See, I would add The Expanse to the list of series where there were no filler episodes. I didn't feel like any of these Andor episodes were fillers, or and The Mandalorian had a lot of episodes that were fillers. We look at a lot of these series where they're just trying to fulfill a contract that says you have to have a certain number of episodes, and they have to move away from that. It has to be the quality writing, and
exactly.
Or if it's a series. We have other shows that for years had 6 episodes, 10 episodes, 5 episodes, because
no fillers, man.
Sense for that particular story.
Yeah,
it makes sense. It's no one wants to see something that you're literally showing up for an episode expecting something fantastic to happen, and it doesn't. There was no filler here. This is so refreshing to be able to see that for once.
No filler episodes. Everything was the story was so cohesively told. Everything made sense and everything had a purpose. Even with when the season began, the first 2 episodes, and people didn't like the gang it was a purpose. It was a purpose to get Andor from one space to another.
Yep.
That's just basically what the purpose was at that point. You know what I mean? So
and like I said, I was so invested in this show, and I usually don't look at shows with closed caption on. I had closed caption on so I can hear every word and see what was going on, because I had to know what was going on and what was being said between the characters. That's how much I was invested in this show.
Gilroy mentioned this, and I've never heard anybody really mention this ever. He said that you could be a person who has never watched Star Wars in your entire life and watch Andor seasons 1 and 2 and still enjoy the show. You don't have to know anything. You don't have to
because they made it so it was for a broader world. It didn't basically confine the world. It didn't shrink it down. It meant so much because, again, they didn't mention the things that we know. We weren't connected to the things that we were known, that we knew before. We were finding out about things that we didn't know. We were more so invested about what the inner workings of things behind the scenes, and that's where they wanted us to be. So
and
now
didn't hear anything about the Death Star until the last 3 episodes. Nothing was mentioned before.
No, I mean,
they didn't mention Skywalker.
Yeah,
and they did a whole freaking saga on the Skywalkers.
Yeah.
Not once did they mention Skywalkers. Not once, you know what I mean? That we know. I mean, again, there was little hints of the Force, but again, they made it so yes, we'll mention the Force, but we're going to. It's coming from a view where people don't really know how to use it, and they can't really describe it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? So it's sort of like a reckless thing, but it makes sense for the modern times for those of us who weren't in a Jedi temple, who weren't raised by the Jedi, who weren't raised by the Wills. It's just there. You know it exists. You believe in it, but you just don't know how to manipulate it.
And you could totally like segue so well into Rogue One and then A New Hope, where Luke is asking old Ben Kenobi about lightsabers and the Jedi. And like asking, like, what are they? Because like normal people, as we saw, they were not engrossed in the Jedi and like the Force and what it was about and like Force sensitives. It was so refreshing to see that.
Because
so
from what we knew, it was only one Jedi, and that was Darth Vader. That was it. It was we didn't know that it was others in the galaxy who had ran away from when the the Order 66 went down. When we first saw Darth Vader, we had no idea it was other Jedi around. So I mean,
but I think the average person doesn't even know who Darth Vader is. We never saw.
The average person
never
doesn't
heard
know
people
who Darth
talking
Vader
about him.
is.
No, they don't. They don't.
You know what I mean? So I love that about that, because for us, it's in our consciousness. Like before I saw Star Wars, I knew that Vader was Luke's father because it's just such a phenomenon. So I like that I have friends, believe it or not, I know people who've never watched Star Wars. And I'm like, first of all,
I know a whole bunch of people.
Second of all, watch Andor, because you don't need to be a freak and like understand all the backstory and having watched everything. It's just you could appreciate it for what it is and then just flow into everything else so nicely.
Did you see the interview with some of the people that were in Andor, and they were asking them questions about Rogue One, and they asked him one simple question. They said, "What is Stardust?" And they had no idea. And they were saying they were in the movie and they had no idea. And they were sitting there, but they asked Ben Mendelsohn all these questions about Star Wars, and he knew everything about it. So like you said, it's people that don't know anything about Star Wars. Nothing. So.
Yeah, I love the aspect of not really connecting us to what we know and using this as a platform to give us something completely different. I love that. And I think that they should do more of it, because what this show showed us is something that we've been asking for the longest time, a world that was much bigger than the Skywalker saga, that was much bigger. Planets that we never got a chance to see, the Gorman Massacre, like things that we never got a chance to witness before, we got a chance to see. Motherfuckers with petty little arguments just because Bail Organa said shit. The fuck? Like, literally, like that's what you're leaning on. You're looking for every opportunity to discredit this show and the creativity of a one fucking word. Oh, that's not my Star Wars. It's not supposed to be your Star Wars. Just you, motherfucker. It's supposed to be everybody. It's opening up this way. Yeah, that shit. I'm sorry, Rita. That pisses me the fuck off. Every time I hear that statement, it is not my Star Wars. So the fuck what? Like literally, it's not made for just you. I hate when people say, well, I want to see this. Well, clearly the director doesn't give a shit about what you want to see. He's trying to open this shit up for everybody to see. That's what it's the viewing fucking experience. It doesn't just belong to you. It belongs to everybody, bro. And when people shrink this universe, it pisses me the fuck off so much, man. Like literally, give it a chance. Just because it doesn't work with you, theory, it works for everybody else.
What does that mean? It's not shit, my bro. Star Wars. Is it just?
It's because
the
world. It's because the world is so used to having everything personalized. All your sites are catered to you. All your news sites are catered to you. All the algorithms cater to you and what you like. So when somebody watches something, they forget that, oh yeah, there's other people with other tastes. People forget that there's other people outside their bubble in every aspect, all life. There's so many people who are just like in their niche bubble of things that they like, and then forget there's a whole fucking other planet out there of people who have different tastes than you.
It's what really it really bothers me is that how many times we heard we want to see something different. We want to see something different,
but not like that.
And then you complain about the different. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
Am I allowed to say that the Book of Boba Fett was not for me and not my Star Wars? Anyway, so like that's annoying.
The Book of Boba Fett was just poorly made.
It was badly.
For multiple different
It was just poorly made.
Badly made.
It would have been a good movie. I think it should have been a movie, and it should not have been a series.
Yeah.
Kenobi should have been a movie. Book of Boba Fett should have been a movie. I mean, you see Hayden Christensen and Ewan McGregor on screen for the first time in years, and they're on TV. It's like, no, this should have been up on the big flipping screen as big as possible.
Yeah.
It's Kenobi and Vader meeting
And
again.
then also, like Rosario Dawson, I don't know if she said it at this celebration or the last one. I think it was this one, and it was talking about Ahsoka, which, mind you, like Andor sets the bar real high, so everything after that, I'm not going to love as much. We already established this, so that was me with Ahsoka. But she did say, to your point about the galaxy and it being larger, is for the first time with Ahsoka, we're seeing galaxies far, far away.
Yeah.
So like only getting bigger, and I appreciate that. Like we're moving away from, and that's why it's like the Skywalker saga was supposed to be bookended.
Yeah.
And that's, so now I want to see Disney take these other characters that they could do whatever they want with, and people aren't going to be upset about it. Like as far as like they
make them
destroyed
comfortable
for me, they destroyed this character for me. Like they like Andor, like I said, was not a legacy. Besides Mon Mothma, it was not a legacy show, and they did this with it. Like the possibilities are endless. And if they put the right team, and actually that's what people say about George Lucas constantly. George Lucas, bless his heart, his biggest contribution to Star Wars, besides the fact that he's like the father of Star Wars, is not necessarily that he was a genius. We've seen his writing. It's not the best. The dialogue, no. Like people can't talk like this. But he was a mastermind at hiring the best
right people.
There you go.
There you go. And that's what happened with this. I want the set designer from Chernobyl. I want them to be able to say this. Hey, the first episode is going to start in a brothel.
Yeah.
How's that? Disney.
Yeah.
And they're like, yeah.
Let's do it. Let's do it. Let's make it happen. You know what I mean? Like, and that just shows that they want to win. They really want to win by allowing something like this to kind of flourish. I just hope they give other things a chance. Like, I hope some of these directors and producers who basically watch this show and the response from everybody and how much the conversation is out there in the zeitgeist and could say like, yo, we need that. We want this. We want this same thing. We want you to talk. And that's what Gilroy said. I want you talking about my show. I want your attention. I want to gain your attention each episode. And damn it, bro, you did it. You gained my fullest attention. Literally. Almost 24 hours a day of my attention because Disney was playing that shit. If you go to Disney Plus, they got a network where they just play nothing but Star Wars constantly, full rotation. And Andor was on there both seasons. So you had my fullest attention. Like literally.
Not just one episode a week. You got about 120 minutes of Star Wars, of new Star Wars.
New Star Wars.
For 4 weeks.
It's interesting too, because deciding to show 3 episodes at a time where they could just show 1 episode, they could have done that.
Right.
But it works out better with the 3 episodes, which is 3 hours, right? It's a 3-hour segment. That's a lot of content, and it's high quality content. We've never had that before, right? This is the first time ever.
That's what I'm saying.
Again, it's like having a movie every week.
And that's why they said it was so difficult to maintain. And that's what, like, there's been other shows as well that I think The Crown, it was like $10 million an episode. Like, that's just not sustainable for so long. And so, like, I'm so glad they rang the bell and we're like, we can't keep this going, because I wouldn't want it to fall in the Lost.
No.
Where you're like, why is this shit still on? Like they're
Leave
not.
it alone. Leave it alone.
Yeah.
This is something that you want people talking about time and time again. And I think ending it's a smart move to end it at season 2 and just let it go. And they even said that there were more seasons that they could have told that they wanted, but they were like, nope, that's 2 years, 2 years a season. They would have to spend like 2 years making this show. And that's grueling.
I think they said, if I remember correctly, it wasn't necessarily they weren't like, oh, we basically had to like get rid of a bunch of stuff. They literally said we had to condense it.
Yeah.
And I think it's perfect because like I was just describing to a coworker about like how tricky it is. Like if you describe something in 3 sentences, because I had to do this for work. Like, okay, describe something that happened in 3 sentences. Okay, those 3 sentences, drop it down to 2. Okay, those 2 sentences, drop it down to 1. You have to say absolutely everything that's important, and also it can't be a run-on sentence. Go. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that's what they did. They didn't cut corners. They didn't sacrifice much. We didn't get the horror movie K2SO origin story, but we got that hallway scene. I feel like everything that they wanted to hit and they did. Mm-hmm. They just managed to condense it, like the bottom line up front, everything that they wanted us to see, we still did.
Yeah.
And if we didn't, do a novelization.
Yeah. I think
possible.
Yeah. That everything can be covered in novelization. If you want to basically find out more, use the novels to tell certain stories. You don't have to make
comic books.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. You don't have to basically make a live action extension. You can just keep it on paperback.
And I wanted to also say something about Saw Gerrera because he's this character that we saw before in the movie first, where they kind of presented him as he would kill anybody, and it's very complex, but we did get his backstory as well. And I thought that was a very nice touch because he also has had incredible sorrow in his life.
Oh yeah,
he's lost his sister. He's literally holding on to that. Yep. He has this a level of mistrust for pretty much everybody and a hatred, for the Empire because of certain things. You know what I mean? So there's a lot that Saul has experienced. The richest. I was like, I would love to have a General Soul story, but now what I'm thinking about it was like, what? No, just leave it.
Let it go.
Well, Saw seems to be also very intelligent, and I think that if the war didn't occur, he would have done incredible things, right? He's already doing incredible things now. And, let's say for the most part, for his team, they're very tight and he looks after their back, but he wants to do the right thing. I do honestly believe, even despite his kind of offbeat, maybe off-putting presence, he wants to do the right thing at this point. He knows what's going on is wrong. And, there's going to be all sorts of individuals that will be, there's going to be all sorts of, and thank you for the impressions, because it's good to see it. There's going to be all sorts of people that we're going to see in this environment, but he's done his part. He's dedicating his entire life, whatever's left of it.
He was the push.
Yeah.
He was the push. And he was the push for the rebellion to get out of their own fucking way and get the job done by any means necessary.
He was the epitome of what Luthen was talking about as far as sacrifice goes. And I also think we didn't get a lot of him in this, to be fair, but you learn a lot about someone, like their character, by how their peers discuss them.
Yeah.
So I feel like the things, like, we knew he was an extremist and eccentric. But he's just as important to the rest of the rebellion as far as what he was able to accomplish. Whether he was a fringe character or part of it or not. Like Luthen talks about having to like harness the tactics that were used against them, against his enemy. And Saul was the one who personified that. And that's what scared everyone else in the rebellion.
So Saul was one of those people that if the rebels were doing something that benefited him, great. But if it wasn't, he was going to do what he needed to do to benefit himself. He didn't care what they did, and that's the way he was. If
he was going to continue to push the narrative, regardless,
if it into what he needed to be done, he was all for it. But if it's not, then he's going on his own with his little crew. So, and I was like, the character is like you said. We all know that his his sister was killed, and that's what drove him, pretty much into the mindset that he's in now. Because basically, he's trying to get revenge on the empire for what happened to him and his family. That's what he's all about. So,
but you know what bums him out? You know what really bums out Saw Gerrera? Lies, deceptions. Every day, more lies. Bulgullet will know the truth.
We need a backstory on Bulgullet, bro.
I didn't get my Bulgullet. Fucking Fox.
We need a backstory of Bulgullet, bro. Like that would be super dope to get. Anyway, man, look, so sad to see the show go. Like I really am. We could like it gives you look, I think it was the perfect ending. The perfect ending. It was the absolute perfect ending. And I think they killed it. It's a memorable show. It's something that we will be talking about as much as we've talked about, even like the OT, where it started from. This ties perfectly into it. It does. And that was the one thing that I was afraid of. Would they make this too modern to the point where it was like, is it gonna blend? And somehow they pulled the shit off. In the very end, they pulled it off. It's the connective tissue. It's there. You know what I mean? And I'm glad that they gave us what they gave us. In the end, we got something that was completely enjoyable. It's gonna be sad, but it's not, because I can go back and watch this shit anytime I want to. I can watch it all the time if I want to. So it's there. I might find something else and I was like, we need to talk about this because I forgot about this. But it's just so positive, man. I honestly think it's going to win some awards. But I hope it pushes that needle forward for Disney to get out their own fucking way, bro.
Was Deidre in the widget prison or was she in a different prison?
No,
she's in the women's prison.
She's in the women's.
Okay, I want to know if she's in there making the widgets with everybody else. That's what I want. Okay, all right.
Hey, we know she's in the box and she can't step on the floor. She's barefooted. So if you step on that floor,
ladies are going to be jumping out like that. That's not happening.
Nah, they chilling.
No.
The only difference is when she steps on the floor, Craig's finger just comes down on her head.
They probably got the women over there making Mon Mothma's clothing, bro. Like everybody, they making clothing for Coruscant.
That's what they're doing. Uniforms and like stuff for the stormtroopers.
Yeah,
there you go.
Stormtrooper. Yeah,
I did see regarding Mon Mothma's drastic change in appearance and clothing on Yavin. Someone was like, the real tragedy of the rebellion is how we went from like Coruscant Mon to like Yavin Mon. And the comparison between like, hey, like you're in wartime. And then someone brilliantly was like, well, they're not making silks on Gorman anymore. Where do you think she was getting them?
No.
Like, it's like when Cashin took her, she was like, wait, can we stop by the house?
Can I grab some stuff real quick?
At least a suitcase. Come on, Cashin.
Yeah, I have some of that Anakin suitcase stuff at my house.
Right?
Like I don't have nobody who can do my hair anymore. So this is the result. This is where I'm at. You know what I mean? But they tied it. But that's the thing. What's the beauty of it is the evolution. It's how she evolved. And she got to this particular point where I think she was giving up her royalty possessions for a cause. She let all that go. It was a decide when she stepped in that Senate and mentioned Palpatine's name, she knew she was giving up everything.
Mm-hmm.
So
everything at that point.
There's no more Aldani money, is there? Like it's all gone, right?
Pretty much.
I'd assume so.
Pretty much. I would assume that it's definitely all gone. And her husband's living off of whatever was left.
Well, he looked like he was having a good time.
He was definitely having a good time, bro. But we're gonna see how long that shit lasts. Yeah. But see, she did her resources. She was really strategic about it, and that's basically where majority of the funding for the rebellion came from.
Yeah.
So we know she was definitely strategic. Why does that behind her look like an arcade machine? I don't know why I keep looking at this shit, but I was like, this just it looks like a pinball machine, but. No, definitely her evolution was the talk of this for me was just so interesting because it wasn't just about Andor. It was, and I love the simple fact that her and Vale survived, and they were having that breakfast that they promised they would have in the morning. I love that it was an ending that was fitting for both her and her cousin.
Yeah,
I love that Vale survived.
There's not many shows that spread the love over this many characters. Like, I don't even really feel like it was Cassian's show.
Yeah. No, it just
Andor.
Yeah, it was definitely called just Andor. It wasn't called Cassian. It was just Andor.
Yeah, because there's so many different characters that had so much importance and screen time, and I like that they didn't like force screen time and lines for Cassian that could have been spent world building the rebellion.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's. I love the ending to this, and I love how gradually the music changed. You know, it got more, you know, methodic, and it just everything just it broadened in that connectivity. Even when the ship flew off, it was there. The moment was there. We knew where he was heading, but it was almost sad to see where he was going.
Yeah. I felt
it was really sad, bro. That last walk, I was like, damn, this is emotional because, you know, even the doctor, or, you know, the healer, the force healer.
Yeah.
She knew.
Oh, she knew the ending. She knew the ending when she met him, when she was trying to heal him.
She
knew what was going to happen. Yeah. She saw the future. She saw it.
But it was funny when he was walking past her, even though he nodded. It was how he was looking at her. It was like, like she scares me, man. Like literally. But it was just a beautiful moment, like how everything got tied in such a way. What Late Bloomer say? He says, "Shit, Gorman Silk, Gavin Rags don't matter. Mine can have me." She is, yo. Definitely, man. Like it was such but hold on though, right? Wait a minute.
I'm just imagining the director's cut of Andor that features Bloomer.
Wait a minute. Hold up.
Oh my
God. Ahsoka takes place after the fall of the Empire, correct?
Yes.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Mon Mothma was in Ahsoka.
Yes.
And her hair was done up. Remember that scene? It wasn't like this.
Yeah.
It wasn't like this.
But it was before this.
No,
it was after. But
it was after this. Yeah.
That was after Republic started taxing people.
It was after this. Because remember, it was the fall. That's basically when we're getting into new territory. We're getting into, you know, Heir of the Empire territory. It was after the fall of the Empire. So I guess she got on some money and she found that hairdresser again. It was like,
what's the name? Keisha showed up to Yavin. That's what happened. And opened up a shop on the corner. You know, Keisha.
Yeah, she allowed her hair to grow.
Stuff. You know who I'm talking about, Leo. She did the braids and stuff down here.
You know what I mean? She let the hair grow back. She was like, all right, I can't do this. I cannot. Like, we can get off the Yavin now. We don't have to live on Yavin no more. We can get off Yavin now. I'm going back to Coruscant. I got to go back. Because wasn't she back? Weren't they back on Coruscant?
I believe so. The New
the New Republic was back on Coruscant.
Yes. No, I thought it was. I thought
was
the New Republic was on a different planet that was similar. Because wasn't that what the First Order destroyed?
So they moved it around. So at
different
one point
places.
in time, it was on Chandrilla, and another point in time, it was on. I can't remember what planet they blew up in the Force Awakens.
Yeah.
But right after the fall of the Empire, it still was on Coruscant. So Coruscant was still.
It was still
where it was located.
Where it was, So she was like, I got to go back. I got to get I ain't gonna get. May not be able to get them silks, but my hair though, I got to get that. I got it. You know what I mean? So I just think it was, her story was so beautifully told and written. I just love it. I love everything about it.
She goes to Edie's hair shop. You know where Edie gets her hair done?
Right.
Same place.
Same place, right? Nah, but definitely, man, an amazing show. And here's to such an incredible Gilroy. Thank you for what you've given us. Kathleen Kennedy, thank you for green lighting Such an amazing show. Disney, thank you for taking the damn chance. Take more chances. Thank you for the entire cast who I mean, you showed up and showed the fuck out, and y'all did such a phenomenal job with this. So I definitely commend all them. So man, thank you guys.
I just read Tony Gilroy said that George called him and they talked for 45 minutes. He said he loved it.
George did?
George said he loved it.
Exactly. He should. And I think everybody should call him. Fucking Dave Filoni need to call him. Everybody need to call him. For real. And say what's up. X, you need to call him. Get his number. Call him. Get that number.
Tony. Chris.
Tony, baby. Tony, baby.
Tony,
let's talk.
What's your next project?
Tony, you said you'd call me back.
Yeah,
instead,
bro.
All I got were lies. Deception. Every day.
Hey, hey, X, call Tony and tell him that CC needs merchandise. He needs to start pushing that. Yep. She wants more merchandise. We need to make that happen, baby. Come on, Tony, make it happen, baby. We need some more merchandise.
And we need a Luthen Riel shop or the shop of whatever at Disney.
Yeah.
Some of that Coruscanti goodness. Yeah. Or some Gorman goodness. Give me some Gorman fashion.
No spiders,
those
bro.
Disney
no
shops.
Spiders. Not leave them spiders at the
Just no spiders. Okay.
No spiders, bro. No spiders, bro.
Don't know where they're gonna have
spiders now, bro. I'm good.
They're gonna be there. You know it.
You know what I mean? Nah, fuck them spiders, bro. We don't
Easy
need
to
that
make.
shit. Anyway, thank you guys, man. I mean, what else? What do we got next? What's coming up? Like, I mean, because we're gonna have a year without live action.
Nothing. Nothing's coming.
I mean, we got Maul coming up soon.
Yeah.
Well, no, that's not until next year. That's the Maul animated show. Oh, wait a minute. Didn't y'all want to actually still talk about we didn't get a chance to talk about
we haven't talked about
Skeleton Crew. Didn't y'all want to kind of go back and revisit that? I thought somebody said they wanted to do that.
Yeah. All right, Skeleton Crew, let's go right now.
Y'all want to go back and revisit? All right. We'll go back.
I can go and do a Skeleton Crew.
I'm trying to remember most of it, but yeah, let's go.
Hey, you got time to watch it. It's on Disney Plus right now. You can go back and watch every single episode. It is there right now. As a matter of fact, that's my ass is going to do this weekend. Binge it. So why not? We can have that. We can go back and talk about it because we never got a chance to revisit that and talk about it as much.
There you go.
I got a few questions about what was going on with the what's the name character? I forgot his name.
Who?
There you go.
The had the Jedi powers last time. I got some questions.
Who?
Jude Law.
Oh, Jude Law's character. Okay.
I got some questions about him. So
okay. Well, all right. We can do that.
I have some theories, Uncle Keith.
Okay. I'm willing to hear them.
We can do that.
Negro dumbass.
Oh my god. Okay.
That was my Gorman accent.
Damn, bro.
Yo.
Yo.
Wow. Jeez. Yeah.
I'm never gonna say that again. I'm gonna be like,
Why does it sound like he preceded that with "Get out of my store"?
Damn.
All I heard was dumbass. It's like, well, I guess.
I'm gonna try to sound totally like I know what I'm talking about, almost like YouTubers who talk about Star Wars and be like, "Oh yeah, like that guy, Nostradamus."
Yeah.
I've never heard anybody roll their R's in Negro.
Yeah, Negro. Yo, he rolled his R's, bro.
It was fancy. It was real fancy.
Damn, that was so fucking smooth, bro. Damn. Yo, Uncle Keith.
Uncle Keith, why do you hate me? Why do you hate me?
That's not even close to being true.
Bro, and Del Vinny, he gave him the face. He's a negro.
Yo, he said Negro dumbass.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh my God.
Oh shit, bro. That's crazy.
Oh, no.
Anyway, thank you guys for being here, man.
Rins, I need you to do some artwork just specifically for Negro Dumbass. I really, really need some artwork for that.
Artwork.
So,
Negro Damas.
I really need it. I really need it. Maybe in like a robe or something. I don't know. Something wizard like. I don't know.
And just a confused look.
Just exactly like.
Just mark above his head.
Negro Damas.
Like a light bulb.
Negro.
Damn it, Keith. You think I'm crazy? You think I'm crazy? Don't you? Star Wars isn't the same. You think I'm crazy?
Yo.
We're going.
Yo. That was a moment in time I will never forget, bro. I swear to God, that was funny. Anyway,
Star Wars is 1/10 to lose 1 mind.
Damn, Saul Guerrero moment, bro.
Yes, right there.
Yeah,
Oh, my goodness.
really, man. You're prepared for Comic-Con, right? Or no, Philadelphia. Is it Philadelphia?
Yeah,
Fan
Expo.
Expo?
Fan Expo, yeah.
Yep. So I am bringing my ass to bed right after this. We're hitting the road in the morning and setting up. And so if you're gonna be in the Philly area, come check me out. But yeah, I'm excited for that. So that's definitely what I got coming up next. And we'll be comic book talk with friends on Monday, talk more comic book stuff.
Superman trailer,
and then back here on Uncivlized Scoundrels, talk about Skeleton Crew. So.
Yeah, let's talk about some Skeleton Crew, bro.
Yeah.
Got to definitely talk about that, bro, because that's definitely interesting. 'Cause I got some theories about that too, man. So definitely we'll talk about that. Hey, CC, the only time that you can catch Vinny not dip setting is when he's at a con and he's actually at the table. He can't dip set. He can't move.
Yeah, it's tough.
That's fair.
It's tough.
He can't.
It's tough. You know what's funny is I'll get set up and then I'll do a lap to check out everything else, and I'll probably walk the whole floor in like 20 minutes and like see everything at full speed. But like if I'm going to a con as a fan, I have to
Dip set.
strategically see everything. But it's
You and CC are kindred spirits, bro. Her dip set is this more. It's unheard of, bro, because her dip set is, hey, so I gotta go find these prints and stuff, and I'll be like, I can hear her. Like she'll say, I'm supposed to be at these prints, and I'm like, oh yeah, CC, okay, cool. And then I'll turn around.
I think that's what I heard.
Right, bro. Like you think you heard it, and you turn around and she's gone.
You'll lose me, but then find me again. CC is just fleeting.
Gone.
Gone.
I personified like that last look with Luke, like that Irish goodbye of like not saying anything. It's masterful considering I'm not Irish. But I do what I can.
So, hey, Unc.
Yeah.
You know when CC's about to dip is when you're talking to her. Sometimes she'll make eye contact, but when she's about to leave is when she's thinking about leaving. And she's her eyes.
I got the whole thing. Bro. We were walking and talking. We're going across the causeway. We were walking and talking, having a good conversation. And then we saw a Calvin showed up behind us. And then she was standing there. We were talking with Calvin. Said, we're going over here. So CC goes like, well,
that's it. That's the look. That's the one. That's the look. That's the look. That's the look.
I'll see you later. Okay, bye, CC. And she was gone.
That's the look. That is the look, bro. When she gives you that look, and it took me two celebrations to understand that. It really did.
If I just like look off into the abyss and I'm just
and she's gone. That's it.
She was on a mission, and I nothing I could do to stop her. Nothing.
That's it, bro. That's it.
Listen, mission requires sacrifice. Okay. Mind is a funless place.
Uncle Keith.
Yeah.
What I want you to do is, if you ever watch Atlanta, there's an episode when they're inside this club, and the DJ owes them money. But every time Dana, what is his name? Glover, his character. Every time he tries to find the DJ dips. Sometimes he'll even dip around a wall. That's Vinny, bro. Like Vinny will look over his shoulder. You're right behind him. He'll look over his shoulder just to see how close you are. If he senses that you're farther away, that's a perfect example for him to dip. Like he'll dip. He got this skip in his walk, but he'll just dip this way or dip that way. And motherfuckers, where Vinny at? Well, he was just in front of us, bro. I don't know. That's Dipset, bro. Literally.
All right.
So you'll see it in action.
Yes, I will.
You see it in action. You'll know exactly what I mean. So
I'm looking forward to LA when you're just like, oh hey, this is Vin.
Yeah, exactly.
Anyway,
and then I come up from the other side of you. I'm like, how do you get over there?
Exactly.
Yeah, there he is over there. He's coming from the opposite direction.
Yo, how did he get on stage at the Star Wars show, bro? Straight up. That's how this shit happens.
Vinny's on a panel.
Yeah, man. But definitely,
it's like the Old Spice commercial where it's like, I'm on a horse. Like,
the fuck did you get there, bro? Like straight up. Anyway, man, bro, thanks for being here as always. Uncle Keith, man, what's going on with you?
Yeah, nothing much, man. Just appreciate being here with all you lovely, happy Star Wars fanatics on this show and everybody out there in the chat. And my number one guy, Press X, my man. That's my guy. And he knows that. He knows. So he knows it's all in fun. Love that I have for everything. He knows that.
And if he doesn't, he's a Negro dumbass.
A Negro dumbass. He's a Negro, bro. He wrote that R so cool.
I don't think that means what you think it means.
That shit was. After the show, I'm going back and watch that shit. That was fucking
like I said.
I'm recording. That's the soundbite.
That's the soundbite. Hey, Renz,
Keith, why can't we all just be kind to one another?
Renz, if you were watching, clip that. Just clip that one space, please. Yeah.
I don't know why. I just picture someone who was like, "Yo, I didn't have closed captions on. Did he just say Damascus?"
Did he just say dumbass?
Yo, we gotta have an alternate opening instead of so uncivilized.
Oh man. But like I said, thanks for having me, man. I appreciate being here. And next week we'll talk about a little skeleton crew, which I have no problem with. So.
Hell yeah, man. I definitely can't wait, man. Thank you for being here as always. X-Man.
I have a master's degree. What? I'm quite learned, actually.
If you're coming to Star Wars Celebration, X-Man,
I'll make it even funnier because it's like
we'll settle all of this. We'll settle all of this, man. Don't worry.
But no, thank you so much. I'm so glad to be here and to talk. I'm always glad to talk Star Wars. I mean, right after this weekend, I'm gonna jump back into the music of Rogue One.
Ooh,
this is the complete soundtrack, every single note recorded for Rogue One on vinyl from Mondo.
Bro, how the hell?
Yes.
Bro, you got
is that a Mondo joint?
Yes, it is.
Yes, sir.
You think I'm crazy, don't you? Collecting is not for the sane. But yes.
No, man, that's
it's like 4 LPs.
Damn.
So, yeah.
Nice.
And it's got just some really great,
nice art,
great details.
Bro, what do you find? Never mind.
Press X don't be playing, man.
Never mind, bro.
I love this. I love this to death. But no, thank you so much for having me. It's gonna be my birthday weekend. My birthday's on Monday. So
Word.
All right, happy birthday, man.
Happy birthday, bro.
Gonna be living it up and buying a bunch of stuff I don't need. So yeah, I'm looking forward to some Collectors Lounge International on Sunday.
Yes. That'll be a birthday show. We'll do a birthday show on Sunday.
A birthday show?
Yeah. We'll do
for your favorite dumbass.
Negro. Damas. Yeah, damn, bro. We'll definitely do it, man. But definitely, man, I appreciate having you here each and every week, man. And talking Star Wars, the things that we love, bro. So definitely thank you for being here.
At the rave, leave her alone. Leave her alone. Can't you see she rolling? Leave her alone.
Yo, look at that.
I hope you can swim, Rita. You can swim, right?
You can swim, right?
Oh, I hope she can swim.
Oh my God, what a great series. What a great show. I'm so glad to be here talking Star Wars with you guys. And I'm just going to keep free falling. The free fall, it's not ever going to stop. It's just going to keep going. This is so wonderful. It's a great time to be a Star Wars fan. Just thank you for having me on. I enjoy every minute of this.
Yes,
you guys are wonderful. And thank you again.
Thank you for being here as always.
Oh no.
Yo. Perfect. You made it thematical every week. Perfect. Love it. As always, thank you for being here. Last but not least, CC. What's going on with you?
My face hurts from like laughing and smiling too much.
Yo, right.
Yeah, nothing much with me. Just I'll have to binge watch Skeleton Crew and be prepared to talk about that with you guys later. But no, I've just been like X. It's not my birthday weekend, but I'm still finding excuses to spend money on shit. So getting some art prints in, getting some posters in. Just same old.
Yeah, definitely. As always, it's a pleasure to have you here. It's a pleasure to have the entire gang back, literally back and talking about the stuff that we love. Star Wars news, anything that we can actually talk about within this universe. I definitely enjoy it. So we will be back next week for Skeleton Crew. I cannot wait to keep
There's EDM in Star Wars, people. Yes. I'm sorry.
Yeah, exactly. It's definitely, I cannot wait. But anyway, everybody out there, yes.
Good night in the chat.
Good night in the chat. Everybody have a good evening. Remember, if you can't do anything else, always and forever stay uncivilized. We are out. You guys have a lovely evening. Peace and all that good stuff, man.
So uncivilized.